What's up, real ones? Welcome to Let's View It. Thank you for clicking on my video for the first time or again. It's been a minute since I made a video. Had a busy weekend. My daughter had a basketball tournament. Then it was Mother's Day on Sunday. And then, it's Monday. But now it's Tuesday and I want to get back on my grind. And it was honestly kind of hard to find a video or a topic to talk about because all of a sudden my TikTok has become very racist. Every video is just about racist stuff. And racist people saying racist things, and a crazy white lady fantasizing about a race war. And I have lost count on how many times I read the comment, black fatigue. But I do think later I am going to make a video about this whole black fatigue thing. But right now, I'm trying to switch gears, and I came across a video about this guy talking about basically the whole American dream thing. How if you work so hard and work harder than hard, and then work a little harder, all your dreams will come true. It's just the way America works. So I came across this guy's video where he read a comment on his Instagram that someone said they feel like if you're in poverty, no matter how hard you work, you will never make the top 10%. So let's listen to this guy's take, and then you can hear me run my mouth for a little bit. So you already know. Let's view it.
Earlier today, I was scrolling on Instagram and I saw something that I had to make a video about. This man said, and it's very funny, he said, there is no amount of hard work that you can put in to get into the top 10% if you are born into poverty. And to whoever that guy is, I just want to say this. And if you are one of those people too, I want to say this to you too. I don't care if you're black, white, Hispanic, Asian, Latino, I don't care. You are cooked, my friend, if you have this mindset. And I would go as far as to say your children are also cooked too. Matter of fact, your whole lineage might be cooked. Because chances are you're probably going to grow your children up believing that mindset. And then it's going to just trickle down the bloodline where they're going to teach their kids the same thing. Basically teaching one another how to be a victim, a professional victim at that. And I don't know, maybe y'all could help me in the comments, but I just don't understand how there's actually people who think like this. Imagine waking up and just saying, yo, like there's no matter what I do, like no matter how hard I work, like there's no way I can be successful or be at a certain point or get where I want to be in life. Like, how do you even achieve anything thinking like that?
Now, first off, let me say this before I start breaking down what he said and also sharing my opinion, so you guys know where I'm coming from. I am a person that has overcome obstacles. That if you looked at my past and where I came from in my family tree, you would probably think I wouldn't have made it as far as I did or became the father that I have become. And the reason why I'm saying this is not to brag, but it's to let you guys understand right away, I am not a victim. I don't have a victim mind state. So no matter what I say and when you disagree with it, please don't comment, I have a victim mind state. And probably just because I just said that, people are going to comment, I have a victim mind state. And another thing I want to make clear is I don't believe you should be telling people that no matter what they do, they won't succeed. Nobody does this. This is a complete myth. That if you don't believe that just because you work really, really hard, you will get everything you deserve, that in opposite, you tell people that no matter what they do, they will never succeed. Why do people keep saying this? Who says this? I have never heard anyone in my life tell some kid that no matter what they do, they will never succeed. And also, you don't have to make the top 10% to succeed. This guy's statement said he believed from poverty, you couldn't make it to the top 10%. Now, of course, also, I want to make it clear, I realize and understand there are people that had nothing and are now rich. Yes, we get that. But that's clearly less than 1% of rich people or people that made it to the 10% are people that came from poverty. And trust me, I'm going to prove what I'm saying through this video. But now that you know, I don't have a victim mind state, and I do understand that, yes, you can overcome and have nothing and become rich. Let's get to my first opening question, and that is, why do we even think this way? Why do we believe if we work harder and work our lives away and just give a little more, then we will get our dreams, that we will start making the amount of money that we really want to make? And anyone that isn't living this 10% lifestyle are just people who just don't work hard enough don't care enough, don't try enough. Why do we even think this way? We're literally talking about going from poverty to the top 10%. So already there's a number they're telling you. It's the top 10%. 10% of America make this amount of money. So if only 10% of America is making it, why are we talking about it as if like 70% of America is making it? Or even 50% of America is making it? Most likely the person saying all this stuff isn't even making that amount of money, yet they think it's highly possible if you just work hard enough. The realisticness of making the top 10% is literally in the title of the top 10%. It's right in your face, and we're like, yeah, that's easy. That's why 10% of us do it. And as stupid as that sounds, even that 10% number is very misleading. And I'll tell you why. Because the top 10% is starting from the minimum amount that requires you to make the top 10% to the richest person in the world, or the 1%ers. Are you claiming you could become a 1%er? So there's no reason to talk about them. Are you claiming you could become a 2%er? So there's no reason to talk about them. The 3%ers, the 4%ers. All of that is very, 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 very unrealistic that you'll obtain something like that. Now, I went the extra mile for you guys, and I did a little Google research and grabbed a little numbers to put all of this in perspective of what we're really talking about. So in this dude's video, he mentioned that the guy said, if you're in poverty, no matter how hard you work, you will never make the 10%. Now, of course, using the word never is a stretch, and I believe he was using a little bit of hyperbole there. But let's look up, what is the federal poverty rate? How much do you have to make to be considered poverty? For 2025, poverty guidelines for a single person is $15,650, and for a family of 4 is $32,000. Now let's make it clear, because statistics can be kind of funny. This is the maximum you can make as a single person to be in poverty. It doesn't mean that people in poverty don't make less, because they clearly do. That's just a maximum. So when this guy says going from poverty to the 10%, was he talking about homeless, not even 5 cents? Or was he talking about 15,000? Or the 32,000 of a family of 4, which is basically what? $8,000 a person a year? And just to give them the best benefit of the argument, let's go with the maximum guidelines and say he was talking about 15 or the 32,000. Because really, I don't think it matters, because we all know if that's how much you're making a year, you're not affording anything. So now I thought, well, how many Americans are actually living in poverty? So I looked it up. And as you can see, in 2025, it is estimated that approximately 11.5% of Americans live in poverty. 11.5%. So now we're talking about a person saying that he believes that the bottom 11%, no matter how hard they work, can't become the top 10%. And of course, there's outliers. We all know that. So then I was like, okay, so how much does someone in the top 10% make? So I looked it up, and it said in 2025, the top 10% individual earners in the US make an average of $167,000. So my next question was obviously, what percentage of Americans make $167,000? Because like I said in the beginning, saying 10% is very misleading, because as you make more, the percentages drop. So it's just counting from this bare minimum of $167,000 up to the richest people, which is kind of irrelevant because you're not going to become one of the richest people. If you really knew how to become one of the richest people, if you're a good person, you wouldn't even want to be one of the richest people. So anyways, what's the percentage of Americans making this $160,000 or so dollars, which seems a little bit more realistic, right? Going from poverty to making $160,000 a year, it's still very, very, very extreme, but it seems more obtainable and realistic. So let's see how many people make that. So when I try to look it up, it's hella weird and funny, but apparently they don't have an exact answer. I don't know why, because I thought they get all our taxes and record all this stuff. But for some reason, to find out who individually makes that amount compared to a household, they can only estimate it. I don't know. But if you scroll down here, you find this little blurb where it says solution, and it says approximately 6% of Americans make $160,000 annually as an individual in 2025. Now, this amount is a little lower than the amount to make the 10%, but as the annual amount increases, all that happens is the percentage of people making that amount decreases. So again, I'm giving this argument the advantage by putting 160,000 and giving them the 6% of people that make that in America. Now let's think of some of these numbers we just came up with, right? Now we know how much you make if you're in poverty, 15,000, and we know that 11% of America is in poverty. And we know that 6% of America makes $160,000. Now my big question is this: what percent of the 6% of the people that make $160,000 annually do you think came from the poverty line? You don't even have to be a math genius to figure out that it's easily under 1% of the 6% that make $160,000 a year that came from poverty. And that's me giving them the low bar to aim for. So if it's more, obviously the percentage drops even lower that they came from poverty. If you're talking a millionaire, the amount of millionaires that came from poverty is probably so tiny. So tiny. Why do we as Americans look at financial success in America as like this black and white? If you work hard, you will achieve it. If you don't, then you won't. Or unless you were born in it, then you got it. But what's with everything being so simplified like that? America is not made for us to financially succeed. You want proof? Why can't I open a McDonald's? And what I mean by that is, why can't I go into a bank and say, I want a loan to open a McDonald's? They already got the whole business plan wrote out, how much stuff costs, how much they pay their employees. No McDonald's fails. You could put a McDonald's inside a McDonald's and it will still succeed. Both of them will still make millions of dollars. So why can't I get a business loan, open a McDonald's, pay back the business loan? In fact, I'm willing to make double payments to pay it back even faster. That's right, I'll do that just for you, bank. Why can't I do that? You know what happens? Have you ever looked into trying to open a franchise or something? Even though, just like a Starbucks, it's the same situation, it's guaranteed to succeed. It's guaranteed to succeed. It's not a chance. It's not a gamble. They all succeed. But you can't just go open one. You can't just become a business owner just like that. Have you ever looked into buying a franchise like that? There's a list of qualifications that you have to meet financially just to own a McDonald's. And I mean, like, your net worth has to be $1 million already. You have to have like $300,000 cash in your bank account. Long story short, you basically already have to have money. Then they'll let you make more money. America is not trying to make sure we're all rich, happy, and healthy. They're trying to make sure we all have the hope and belief that one day, if we work hard enough, strive enough, put ourselves through enough stress, then we will be rich too, just like them. And as long as we have that hope, we continue to work hard for them and never get mad because, you know, if you don't get rich or make the top 10%, it's because you didn't work hard enough. Even though we're brainwashed to believe that this is the country that if you work hard enough, all your dreams will come true. To think that way, that means that you believe that everybody that doesn't have what they want or the success level they wanted, it's because they didn't try hard enough, they didn't work hard enough. And there's a couple negative things that come with that. One, it's just not true. There are some people that put blood, sweat, and tears into what they want. And for one reason or another, it just didn't happen. Or it fell through. Or something happened in their life where maybe they had a lot of money saved up to do it, but now they have to pay for a loved one's surgery. Things happen in life that can derail what you're trying to do. There are variables that happen in life that sometimes you cannot control. So sometimes you can be saying that to someone that lost everything, trying to get their dream to come true, and you're literally just slapping them in their face. You're spitting right in their face because really they gave more than what you had, which leads to my next negative thing that this type of thinking brings. And that is people who think like this. Say you have your own business, right? You made it. You didn't have a lot. So you're like, hey, if you work hard, you can gain your own business just like me. That's fine. But you have to understand that not everybody has the same story. And anybody that makes success out of nothing has to have something fortunate happen their way. Has to know somebody that somebody else didn't get the chance to know. Had to learn something, encounter something that maybe someone else didn't get to. And I guess what I'm trying to say is people who think that way, who think it's just hard work and the other person just didn't work hard enough, they don't appreciate the little advantages that they did get. They don't appreciate it because if they did, then they will understand that it takes more than just hard work. It's also good fortune. You have to have good fortune. If you're trying to reach these certain high levels, I don't care what it's in or what it is, you have to have good fortune. Kobe Bryant, hands down, is the hardest working basketball player ever to walk the planet. So it's understandable that he made it to the NBA, right? He still had good fortune. He had his dad who was an NBA player. So obviously that helps out, which also opens doors to other pro players. So Kobe has access to other pro players as a little boy. And that's just one example. I can make a list of them. But he still worked very, very, very hard. But I know if he was alive today, he would still tell you some of the advantages he had that some people don't. The type of person I am, I believe you really need to appreciate the little things. Sometimes those little things add up into a big thing. And to pretend like you can go from nothing to something with nothing fortunate, no advantage whatsoever that you had to take advantage of, that's just insane. That's completely insane. Just like believing you could be in poverty and then work really, really hard and you'll make it to the 10%. Even though statistically speaking, from poverty to make it to the 10%, you have less than a 1% chance. If someone says, I want to go to the NBA, no one says, well, if you work hard, you'll probably make it. That's not what they're going to say. And I'm not talking about your homies and stuff. I'm talking about like your teachers and all these adults you come across. They're going to be like, that's cool, but what's your backup plan? And I'm not hating on that. That's completely understandable because they know the odds are less than 1% of making it to the NBA. But if your odds are less than 1% of becoming a top 10%, it's highly possible if you just work hard. That's brainwash. That's just what America wants you to think. So we don't stop busting our ass and breaking our knees and our backs and everything else trying to get a dollar, hoping that dollar becomes a bigger dollar. And I can go on and on about this topic about how it doesn't make sense that we believe this. And I probably already have. This is all freestyle, so who knows how long this video is. But of course, I believe you tell kids you can do whatever you want as long as you put your mind to it, as long as you work hard. But we all should understand overall, especially as adults, that it takes a lot more than that. Unfortunately, you have to be fortunate. But please, comment below. Tell me what you think. Do you think anything that I'm saying makes sense? Or are you like,
you're full of it. You just need to work harder.
But no matter what you think, I'm still gonna need you to hit that bell like the hunchback. Also click that hit checker button and subscribe with me. And I'll see you on the next trip.